All right, let's rock and roll. Thanks for joining us here at 10 Tampa Bay. We are your hurricane headquarters, and yes, we've got our weather impact alert in effect, especially as we go into Wednesday night, Thursday, and the first part of Friday. But as we know here in Florida and Tampa Bay, it's all about preparation, finalizing those plans, checking on neighbors, making sure everybody has a place to go if need be, things like that. The supply list, tidying up the yard. We can still do things like that here on our Tuesday. And as of 2 p.m., of course, this is what we call the intermediate advisory from the National Hurricane Center. The big advisories are every 6 hours when they actually update the track. And again, this is just the track of the storm. Has nothing to do with the weather. All right, this is the center of the storm, and you can see the latest here, still looking for a hurricane here in the Gulf of Mexico, not just a Category 1, but a major hurricane as it moves just to the west of Tampa as we go through the day on Thursday. So really Thursday is going to be our biggest impacts. Right now we've got Tropical Storm Helene that was officially named at the 11 a.m. advisory with winds sustained at 45 miles per hour. That pressure will start to fall. It's 999 millibars, but once that starts falling, that's given us an indication that it's starting to become better organized, and yes, eventually much stronger. So by tomorrow, that would mean we would have Hurricane Helene in the Gulf of Mexico. Already, we do have those hurricane watches in effect, issued usually 36 to 40 hours ahead of some of those higher wind gusts and those severe bands of rain. So no surprise there. And notice, yes, all the west coast of Florida really going to see the lashing here. But this is a storm really for much of Florida. This really tells the story. You got those tropical storm watches almost all the way to the east coast. So if you have friends and family even on the east coast of Florida, central Florida, have kids at Gainesville, yes, at University of Florida, we got to check on our neighbors, not just here, but even for our friends all across Florida. So our weather impact alert, what is this for? Well, it's for Wednesday night, Thursday and Friday morning. The impacts will be the storm surge. I think the storm surge will be the biggest impact with this. Notice 5 to 8 foot forecast right now. Now, the National Hurricane Center gives the worst case scenario with these numbers. So hopefully, yes, this is not going to be the worst case scenario, but right now we have to prepare for that with that surge at 5 to 8 feet. Flooding of 2 to 4 inches, yeah, not really from the rain, that's just the rainfall, but the flooding will be from the storm surge. Just keep that in mind. Damaging wind gusts of 45 to 55, so I have it right in that 40 to 60 mile per hour range. That's like a severe thunderstorm. The only problem is severe thunderstorm winds with this system for about 6 to 12 hours, especially during the day Thursday into Thursday night. So you need to know your zone. Okay, because there will be evacuations with this, and stay tuned for updates. We'll be here for you. Keep streaming us here at 10 Tampa Bay, 10 Tampa Bay Plus. We take a look at our future cast right now, and you can see our area of low pressure really taking shape. So this is the latest graph model, we call it. So here's Tuesday, here's tonight at 10 o'clock, and one change in this system is you see the storm starting to wrap around the center, still though over the Yucatan Peninsula, but once that gets over that bath water, that warm water during the day on Wednesday, that's when we start to see some rapid intensification. And notice the bands, the first bands of severe weather could move up here into Tampa, especially as we head into tomorrow afternoon, into tomorrow evening. And with this, these bands tend to have a lot of rotation, so we'll have to watch out for that tornado threat, especially by late Wednesday into Wednesday night. And then as it makes a move to the north, yes, we'll have one band after another coming our way as we head into Thursday. And then notice the very latest still showing that landfall by Thursday at sunset toward Apalachicola in the Big Bend of Florida. But again, that's just the center of the storm. There's a lot more to talk about with this. Let's take a look at why. Well, we've got Tropical Storm Helene. The biggest impact will be the storm surge. We saw during Idalia what just a 3 to 5 foot surge could do, 2 to 4 foot surge. Well, right now we're expecting that toward Fort Myers and Marco Island. The problem with this for us, it looks like we're going to have a higher surge based on the forecast than we saw with even Idalia. Notice 5 to 8 feet for Tampa, St. Pete, all the way into the Bay. We're talking Oldsmore, watching Hillsborough Avenue, east of Racetrack Road. Okay, all of those areas need to be watched closely. And then the farther north you go, closer to that track I showed you, could have some of that surge up to 6 to 10 feet. And then some as you head up towards Citrus County and the Big Bend. So this is going to be the biggest impact. One of the reasons why we've got such a big storm surge with this is it's a very large system. Okay, so this is much larger than we saw with Idalia last year and even Debbie this year. Let's take a look at the wind field. Where you see the yellow, that's where we could have some of those gusty winds that could cause some power outages. So we go through the day Thursday, we'll start to see some of those gusty winds come up into Tampa Bay and the west coast of Florida. But look how far out those winds, those damaging winds can extend from the center. up to 200 miles off to the east and northeast. We could have some wind issues all the way to Gainesville, Alachua County, into Duval County, St. Johns County, and North Florida. So this gives you an idea of the size and scope of this system as it moves off to the north and northeast. And again, where you see the orange, that's where we could have some widespread damage and power outages, where you see right here as we go into later Thursday afternoon into Thursday night as it continues to move off to the north. So again, as we look at the big impacts, I'd say storm surges first, high tides for us. This is key for us here in St. Pete and Clearwater. It looks like the highest tides with that surge coming in late Thursday into Thursday night with that high tide at 2:19 a.m. on Friday. So that's what we'll be watching here in the forecast. As far as why the big surge, you can see, well, the track of the storm, right? So you got those high winds pushing the water against the coast and just piling up that water, and it has nowhere to go. So by Thursday morning, we'll start to see those winds pick up, and they'll be really gusty out of the south and southwest, 40 to 60 miles per hour for several hours, a good 6 to 12 hour period of that, and that tends to cause the storm surge. As far as rain, yeah, looking for 2 to 4 inches in most areas, maybe a little bit more along the coast, but again, it's not really about the rainfall at this point. We take a look at the 7-day forecast now, and there it is. You see the big impacts there, surge, wind, power outages as we head into especially Thursday, okay, and Friday morning, okay. We'll keep you updated on this, and of course, keep streaming us here on 10 Tampa Bay Plus.